There are a lot of expressions we speak as Yorubas that tells how worse our faith is. That tells how worse our faith is. One of those things is there is no one that has that power to delay the time of the occurrence of anything. Allah himself says it. And this is why when things are given expression by Allah, then when you go against it, you are in serious trouble. Allah says it in the Quran. إِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُ. Anything at all, when its time arrives, when its time comes, لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. Not a second will be delayed, nor fast forward. So a Muslim gives it absolutely to Allah. And he saves his head from all those things the Yorubas have brought together to set us back. Unfortunately and unfortunately, the Yoruba as a race is also almost the most superstitious race I have known anyway. Almost the most superstitious race. For everything, the Yoruba man has something to tell you about it, other than Allah. And this is what annoys Allah most. When anything happens, Allah wants you to return to him. To tell him that he caused it. The only thing Allah wants us to do is to ask ourselves, are we not the one that caused this? So he says it in the Quran, ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. Indeed, anything that happens, anything that Allah makes to happen to our lives, it is as a result of what we have done with our hands. There is no argument about that. You are the one that can cause your own backwardness. You are the one that can cause troubles for your head. We do not push blames. You do not, a Muslim takes absolute responsibility. And this is what the Prophet had taught us in Taif, in his journey to Taif. If this is not as a result of your annoyance over me, I do not care. Annoyance as a result of me doing something which is not in your pleasure. So this is the only thing a Muslim is allowed to do. You look inward to find faults within yourselves. Immediately you've pushed the blame to someone else, then you will not take any lesson from that. So Allah wants us to give it absolutely to him. Absolutely. We must understand that a lot of us come from backgrounds that are full of all these unacceptable beliefs to Allah. A lot of these superstitions that have been created even before we come to this world. And this is what you see. When a Muslim has a little problem, you see his mothers especially, they can visit houses, they can go to any extent in the name of children. Going into this house, following an afar, a babalawo or whatever. This is not the way of the Muslim. And they keep telling you, so long as you have not caused any other person's, if you are not the cause of the havoc of another person, they justify that to continue in isolation, to continue in following those affairs who would have to place sand on the floor to see what they could not see. If anybody speaks anything that looks like what is correct about you, it is either of three things. Either he has only guessed and guessed right, or he has an informant about you giving him the information, or is dealing with the genes. Outside those three, nothing else. So a Muslim firstly must understand the kind of environment he finds himself. I have continued to ask myself, when we watch foreign films and we watch detective films, you see some of these detective agents doing extra effort to establish with things that you can also see, that you can see as mathematics being calculated, and how they will arrive at the answer. Unfortunately, I have not seen any local films, it's time to be corrected, where they try to act a detective film and they get to the root of the matter without a dead man coming to tell them the answer, or a spirit coming to tell them the answer. It shows as worse as our race is. And it shows us we have been waylaid. Shaitan is there. All the roots, he has taken over. When you're seeking a child, Shaitan is there to give you. When you're seeking a good marriage, Shaitan is there. And that's why when he even finds a woman, rather than do istikhara, they take the name of that woman to one afa. They take the name of that man to one scholar, so-called scholar. Such people are not scholars. And in the end, they come to say, their stars are not equal. Whereas stars has nothing to do with human beings. Not at all. So we must understand that the kind of a people we are, we need to act so well if we must get ourselves out of those beliefs that will not pave way for us to enter paradise. Don't forget, when the scholar tells us about that hadith, they said Allah will ask the angel to go to hellfire and bring out everyone that has La ilaha illallah sincerely in his mind. And La ilaha illallah in the heart means you recognize that there is nothing and nothing except Allah. If you do not get to that level, then you are not benefiting from La ilaha illallah.